How do you go from that square peg to a round hole? Who are you is not just the sum of everything you've done. It's what comes out of that is who you are. And I see a big problem, we're going to talk about this in the next slide, of why I think this is correct. I've got a resource to validate that is, how do you capture that on your resume too? A lot of times, military guys, and we'll talk about it in the next slide, is they have the worst resumes. Because they're like 5 pages long, and it's, here's all the stuff I did. Military guys tend to treat their resume like a biography. And it's not that. You'll see that on the next slide with the mistakes. I've worked with the job transition group is, how do we take that statement and civilianize it so that a guy who's reading at Procter & Gamble knows what that means? You know, the fact that you were, first and ninth air cav, doing this and you know, there are people that are like, oh, I served in Fallujah. I mean, a military guy says, oh yeah, you were in Fallujah? Most people are like, ooh, is that one of those Greek dishes? You know, what's a Fallujah? They just don't understand some of the jargon. So you got to get away from that. Where this whole PDP Pro scan that you took comes in. So many times you get this resume and people are like, wow, that's a great resume. And the person shows up and it's not the person there. And that is a huge turnoff for people who are interviewing. It's like, I just wasted my time. I spent all this time trying to get this person here because I thought this is who I was getting, and that's not who showed up. Myers-Briggs is very interesting. Myers-Briggs is a personality test. I've taken Myers-Briggs 3 times in my military career. Guess what? Always came up the same way. Because it's a personality test. Personality is set at about 5 years old and it really doesn't change from there. The traits this measures, it's more along the lines of DISC, if you're familiar with that. But I think people refer to this as DISC on steroids. Because this looks at work style traits. This is how you do things, how you communicate, how you act, versus who you are personality-wise. Which Myers-Briggs really measures how you process information.
The PDP is a lot more like the emotional intelligence questionnaires that a lot of companies are starting to go for because of this. Specifically, they want to know who you think you are,
right,
and they want to know how other people perceive you as.
And that's exactly what this shows. So what you're going to see is how you think you are. If you ran the world, this is how I'd run it. How you think people see you. And then in between is the stress lines, which we're going to spend a lot talking about that, is your goal is to try and bring these into congruence. And then on top of that is the job you have and what they're having you do. All leads to this. And how do you normalize that and bring that in congruence so that you're doing something that is right for you to do?